and welcome to Telly Talk. I'm Liv.
And I'm Ben.
And on this episode, you'll hear our carefully considered and not at all random thoughts on a show we like. There will be spoilers.
We're giving ourselves an age rating of 15 and above, but you're welcome to make up your own mind. Listener discretion is advised.
And thank you so much to everyone who has been rating and reviewing our podcast. It really means a lot to us, and we're so pleased to see people doing that. So thank you. And if you haven't done so already, please feel free to do it.
Yeah, and if you have any thoughts or recommendations or ideas or just want to hit us up, you can contact us on our socials. We're at TellyTalkPod on Blue Sky and on Facebook. And you can email us at tellytalkpod@outlook.com.
So this episode, we are reacting to the final episode in the season of Death in Paradise. Season 14, episode 8.
It's the final episode.
Nice.
Da 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 da, ba da 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 da.
Okay. Ben's having a moment. I think we should just leave him to it.
Yeah, and slowly mute my mic.
Yeah.
Fade him out.
Go on then, Ben. Give us the episode description.
Mervin is about to fly home for reals, but finds himself at the centre of a murder investigation when a body is discovered in his shack.
Yeah, literally in his shack.
It's a shack attack.
It is a shack attack.
The shack attack is back.
Well, the premise for this episode is that D.I. Wilson is returning home. We see him locking up the shack. The taxi driver's sort of helping him out to the car with like 1 million bags.
Yeah, he brought a lot of stuff.
Yeah, or he acquired it whilst he's here. That's not clear.
I think one suitcase is that satellite dish he had to take
Oh,
down.
yeah. His air conditioning unit.
Yeah, he's obliged to take it all with him. No take backsies.
Yeah. And he locks up the shack and he leaves and he goes back to the police station, hands his key in, and off he goes.
They made a real point of lingering on the meticulous way he was locking everything up and shutting doors and everything. I'm like, subtle, guys, subtle. Foreshadowing.
Yes, well, we do notice that when he's giving his keys back to the team at the station, someone comes in to report a missing person. He doesn't think too much of it and he toddles off to the airport.
He does think too much of it, though, because they really make a point of showing him going, ooh, like a meerkat, like, ooh, what's going on? They're like, you're leaving, go away. And he's like, sad face.
Yeah, well, he can be sad and still determined to leave.
I think they're hinting that he might be staying.
Well, he's sat at the airport in between. It's a very tightly packed airport, actually.
It's a tiny airport.
Yeah, and he's like squeezed into these very small seats. He's got other people either side of him. And then his phone rings and he can't leave. He has to stay.
If I'm being pedantic, his phone doesn't ring.
Oh!
There's a tannoy announcement for Mervin Wilson.
That's right.
And then he gets a phone call from the front desk because apparently he wasn't answering his phone.
Yeah.
Oh no, he was on the phone to his commissioner in Manchester.
Yes.
So they couldn't ring him because he was on the phone.
I think it's London.
What? Oh, did I say Manchester?
Yeah.
It's all foreign, isn't it? It's all not San Marie, right?
Anything, yeah.
All the places in England are the same. So yeah, apart from all of the details, you are utterly right.
Yes.
I'm just getting my points in because I am concerned about this recording. Do you know why I'm concerned, listeners? Because when Liv was writing her notes, she was just going,
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, that set my husband's senses tingling.
That was exactly how I was laughing as well, and I couldn't help it.
Yeah. So we're in for something.
Yeah.
I sense that I'm not going to like it.
I think you'll know when we get there. It's not yet. Anyhow, D.I. Wilson goes to help out the team, except when he gets there and he realises that there's a body in his shack, he tries to investigate and the team are like, you're a suspect.
Dead in a shack and someone's to blame.
Oh, it comes
Maybe
back.
D.I. Wilson didn't lock up.
Okay. All right.
I had to really work for that.
I just feel like there might have been easier ways. Try again.
No.
Dead in a shack. And who's to blame? D.I. Wilson.
Could be to blame.
Could be to blame.
Not that they linger on that for long, to be fair.
No, because they alibi him and whatnots.
And yeah, it turns out there's a dead person in his shack. But Liv! But Liv! We saw him locking up. And I'm pretty sure there wasn't a dead body there.
Yeah, me too.
It would have, messed up the ambience.
Yeah, I mean, he would have tripped over it. She was right in the middle of the floor.
He is not getting his deposit back.
No.
I'm pretty sure there is a no dead bodies clause somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Well, it turns out that the cleaner went in about an hour after he left to go and give it a clean before the next DI arrives. And she finds the dead body, so here we are. Dun, dun, dun.
And she is like, unacceptable! I need extra rates for bodies.
Yeah, so she's also a suspect for a very short while.
Yeah, they have two real throwaway suspects, but we're jumping ahead because we need to talk about El Victimo.
Oh, yes.
El Victimo.
We have Rosa. Oh, they just call her Rosa.
She is a volunteer at the local turtle conservancy. Or conservancy. I kept wanting to say the Turtle Conservatory, which sounds like it would be fun. I mean, my initial notes had it as a church leader, so I don't know where the hell I got that from.
Yeah, there's no church
I
in
had
this
to
episode.
hastily edit that. But that would have been a different episode, wouldn't it? But no, she works in the turtle place with the turtles to make sure the turtles are alive. But yeah, she's been strangled! And she has marks on her neck, which is, to be fair, how it usually works.
When someone's been strangled, yes.
Yeah. So I immediately, with my detective brain, went, that's not a quick kill. How did a kill like that end up in a shack that was locked and stuff? It's not like they were hiding in a bin and then they jumped out and got shot or something.
Wow.
What?
I mean, no, just wow.
I mean, it doesn't have to be the bin. It could have been...
No, you stop
cupboard.
now. I'll have a turn. She also has a head wound, and upon testing, they find orange fiberglass.
Did they acknowledge the head wound immediately?
Well, I don't think they did.
So I, for the longest time, thought I was going a bit mad. I was like, she had a head wound, right? They've said strangled, but head wound.
Okay, so you know what might have happened?
Yeah.
We might have chatted over this bit.
That does sound like us, because for the longest time, I was doubting myself and going, is that a birthmark that I'm being mean in thinking is a head wound? Have they just hired someone with a prominent birthmark that looks like a head wound?
Yeah, I think we missed it probably because we were talking, so our bad.
We're so professional. But in this instance, her phone is also missing.
Yes.
Because they assume she'll have had a phone.
Everyone has a phone.
Does everyone have a phone?
Everyone has a phone. And Seb, once again being an excellent police officer, discovers that she has some writing on her hand. We have 4 numbers and a letter.
And I was like, man, it's like an escape room, but in reverse.
Yes.
Because there's a code of the body that's in the escape room. And the mystery is how it got in the escape room, not out of the escape room.
I am baffled as to what your brain is doing today. I have no idea.
It's making connections and...
Too many connections.
Links.
No.
And solving the crime.
Oh, God. This is going to make no sense. The police search her name in the records, whatever these records are. No one of that name has entered or left the island in the last few years.
Seems suspicious.
Yes, however, they do discover plane tickets that went unused, ready to depart the island about a week before.
So when they said there was no record, there was in fact a record.
Yeah, but they don't know how she got there, they don't know when, and she didn't actually leave.
Do you think she might not be Rosa Martinez?
I do think that.
Yeah. Dun dun dun.
Cool.
Strangled in a shack.
Oh, no.
But what is her name? She's got a different one than that they think.
Okay, that was... Oh my God, that started so good.
I'm going to try my best to find a good one by the end of this episode.
Brilliant.
These are all going to get edited out.
I don't think they are.
Oh.
I think everyone's going to get to hear these.
Oh dear. But I think it's important to call out that whole plane ticket thing is mysterious.
Yes.
They're suspicious and mysterious, and that's our victim, let alone our suspects.
Suspects. Talking of them, D.I. Wilson and the cleaner are both suspects, but only for a very short amount of time.
Yeah, it turns out she's actually clean. Aha.
Darlene sort of goes, she would never do that, and they just trust that.
I mean, to be fair, they've trusted much flimsier things from much more suspicious people than that.
Our other suspects are the lead volunteer.
Or the volunteer lead, depending on your preference.
Well, that's what I wanted you to put, but here we are. The charity founder, who is also the lead volunteer's husband.
So many multiple hats people wear.
And then there's another volunteer.
So basically, everyone's got volunteer in there somewhere in one form or another. Basically, people would be loving them turtles.
Now, Seb really liked the fellow volunteer.
Oh, yeah.
He took quite the liking to her and then started trying to defend her. She would never do anything like that.
She barely even spoke to you. It's not like she even flirted with him. He just looked at her and went, oh.
Yeah.
Like,
and Mervin was like, oh, do you know her? No.
He wants to know her.
Yeah.
Turns out, Seb is dumb as a bag of rocks.
Aw.
Well, as soon as he liked her, I was like, well, she's a wrong'un.
Well, she's only a bit of a wrong'un, isn't she?
Well, it depends on your perspective.
Yeah. My perspective is that she's only a bit of a wrong'un.
And he is a lot of a dumbass.
Aw, poor Seb.
I will say that I kind of feel like as this season's been going on, he's been proving that he's the best investigator of all of them.
Yeah, he notices loads of stuff.
Like writing on people's hands when they're dead.
Yes. Okay. Means.
Don't know.
Well, she's strangled.
Well, so I guess everyone has hands.
That's what I was going to say, and that's what I was laughing about.
Okay.
I was going to say she's strangled, and then everyone has hands. Because I thought that was really clever.
Dead in a shack, but no one's sure how. But make sure they've got hands.
No.
So what we're doing is we're ruling out Captain Hook.
Yeah. All right. Good one.
It wasn't that guy.
Actually, that's a good point, because they say that this charity have got like 30 volunteers and only 3 of them are suspects.
Yeah.
They didn't even attempt to rule anyone else out.
Yeah. To be fair, that's usually my gripe. But at this point, I'm like, yeah, it's fine.
Cool.
Because to be fair, they're right.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, it's nice not giving a shit and just being on this side. Oh, yeah, it's fine. Judging by the results, not their policing.
Okay. Well, motive, D.I. Wilson has none, and so he's out. The cleaner, no motive, she's out.
I enjoyed how pissy he was about being a suspect.
Yeah.
He was like, why look at the cleaner? She's less clean than me. I'm like, ha 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 ha.
Does he say that?
No.
Right.
It was implied.
You're laughing at a joke that you inserted into the show.
I imagined a joke.
Okay. Then we have the founder of the charity. Now, it turns out he was having an affair with the victim, so I suppose his potential motive is that he wanted to stop the wife finding out?
Yeah, that seems to be the usual thing when this happens. And is it me, or is it always the female victim having an affair with a male, like, suspect or superior or whatever? It seems pretty common in these shows.
I think that's confirmation bias. We have only been doing Death in Paradise this season, and this season, this is the first time that this has happened.
Well, there's been a fair few affairs.
Has there, though?
Well, earlier on in this season, in the snake venom episode, the scientist was having an affair with the boyfriend, or the husband of the head honcho. Wasn't she?
Yeah, but didn't you say female having an affair with male boss?
Yeah. Husband of the boss.
Right.
So
Wow, it's not the same, is
it? Wow, you're really going to cling on to that one there. Just
Yeah. But this founder, he poo-poos that because...
Sorry, he poo-poos it.
He poo-poos
He
it
shits
because...
all over it.
No. Because he says that he has an open relationship with his wife.
He's basically like, yeah, I sleep with who I want, she sleeps with who she wants, it's fine.
Yeah, although it does seem a bit more one-sided than that when they actually go and speak to his wife.
Well, no, his wife's like, yeah, he sleeps around with people, I do it too.
Yeah, but that was like an afterthought. He's like, yeah, he does. I suppose I do as well.
Maybe hers just aren't as good.
Yeah.
So they're basically like, yeah, we fuck around, what's your problem?
Yeah, so
Don't
then
be such a prude.
he doesn't really have a motive now.
Yeah.
So then we have the lead volunteer / the founder's wife. And so we could assume that she's annoyed by this affair, but she does kind of say that they do have an open relationship. So
but it was her that bought the plane tickets for the victim a week ago.
Oh, yes, well remembered.
It's written down.
Nicely read.
By me. Oh, these bits of my notes were okay. But yeah, the victim didn't use them. And they're like, suspicious.
Yes.
And she's like, no, it was that we were going to send her away because she hadn't paid her bills. And so we spent more money on plane tickets to send her away because logic. But she gave me a sob story, and so I just let her off.
Yeah, that's exactly what she says.
She literally says sob story. Because the husband, the founder, had sort of said, oh, yeah, there was a misunderstanding and we sorted it out. Everyone's being hella vague.
Yeah.
And I just wrote down, top-notch police sting. Don't even ask her what the sob story was. Just let that go.
No, they did ask her what the sob story was.
Did they?
I think so.
No, she just said sob story, then stormed off going, I don't know why you're even asking me. Like, I didn't kill her.
Okay.
And I'm like, I think they have to ascertain that. They have to at least ask.
All right. Fun times. Well then, let's move on to our last suspect, which is the fellow volunteer. Now, as I said, they had about 30 volunteers at this charity, but this one in particular seemed to have been quite interesting to the victim because her name was circled on the rota.
Oh, well, this was the only one that came up on said's penis-based radar.
Oh my god.
Listener discretion is advised.
Yes.
But yes, Seb is enamoured by the sheer look of her. And he's just like cartoon levels of interested. He might as well have had love hearts for eyes and his heart beating out of his chest and going awooga.
Yeah, well, this volunteer says that the victim was stalking her. Actually, wasn't there a stalking allegation made?
She said, oh, she was stalking me. And then they find in the victim's room, this woman's shifts were all circled.
Oh, so she didn't report any stalking?
No. She was just like, I think she was actually stalking me.
Right, okay.
Because she kept showing up where I was and, like, talking to me.
Well, it is suspicious because this particular volunteer's shifts are always at night time. Most of the other people have different times of the day.
Working at night? What's up with that? Maybe they just don't like the sun.
I think they're getting worse.
Are you suggesting the sun might be setting on this particular bit?
I would never pun like that.
But puns are fun for all the family.
Okay, moving on.
Seb, showing that excellent detective work, has figured out what the code is. It's not actually the letter C at the end of that code. It's a 0 that had been rubbed off.
Don't!
And he, in a startling leap, goes, I reckon that might be one of the buoys out on the sea. And wouldn't you know it, he's right. It's only a buoy right directly in line with the beach that the charity, like, owns or uses.
That's where the turtles are nesting, isn't it? So their work is on that beach, trying to keep the baby turtles safe.
I think hogging that beach is rather shellfish.
Oh.
Hey! Try the fish, I'm here all week. So they start to suspect that this volunteer, not the dead one, the alive one, might be in on something.
Okay.
Which is important to clarify.
So what they do is they stake her out.
Yeah. But they send Seb,
Yeah.
the one who's plainly got a hard-on the whole time.
Oh my god.
Come on. He's like, which way did she go? That way, as he thrusts his groin that way.
Oh my god. I have no words.
I noted that she doesn't even have to flirt. He's just, like, she looks at him and he's like...
Well, she gives him some sort of excuse and, like, just leaves.
Yeah, she's just like, the batteries are run out. Can you hold my torch? And I'm just going over here.
Yeah, and she's gone.
And she doesn't even move quickly. She just sort of walks off stage left. And then he goes, oh no.
Yeah, Darlene rolls her eyes. It's the whole thing.
I am bad at this. And I'd like to point out, before this all happened, I said, he is going to blow this, isn't he?
And I thought he wouldn't. I thought he's learnt from his mistakes.
You went, no, don't be silly. Oh, I was smug.
I was silly.
Yes, you were. Almost as silly as Seb.
Oh.
But on the plus side, they just magically rearrest her in the next scene.
I know, yeah, she's
like,
just there.
What? Where? How? When? What?
Yes.
They were just like, yeah, she left. Oh, well, she's back. That was worth it. Mm-hmm. Basically, the writers were just like, Seb is shit. But he's also good.
Okay. That was quite a lot for the fellow volunteer.
Yeah.
And her motives.
Well, it turns out she's involved in a smuggling ring. And do you know what she'd be smuggling?
Yeah, turtle eggs.
Turtle eggs.
You know how I know that?
Because it's in the notes.
I watched the episode.
You watched the episode. Wait. Wow, you're really going along with the magic of the recording here, aren't you?
I thought that was quite good.
Yeah, she's smuggling turtle eggs, and who else does she throw under the bus?
Her boss.
Her boss, not the founder.
The wifey.
Yeah, the lead volunteer.
The volunteer lead.
Yes, she is both things.
She's wifey, not for life.
Head of an evil operation, smuggling them turtle eggs. And they make a real point of dwelling on this when they talk to her about, like, they get sent here, and they're sold for pets, and then they're made into food, and they're made into bags, and they're made into this, and they grind up their shells. And I'm like, whoa, someone's done some Googling.
Yes, and actually, this reminds me of what I first thought when we were introduced to the whole turtle conservatory thing. And that is that they were really pushing this homing instinct that the turtles have, because their babies are born on this beach, they go off and live a life, and then they'll come back and nest on this same beach.
Yeah, they've imprinted on the turtle atrium.
And then D.I. Wilson is sort of pondering on this.
Aw.
Because he's trying to find his place in the world and try and find where he fits.
Allegory.
And I thought, oh, they're going to use this as not overly subtle, but a way of helping him decide to stay. Then he just calls it out, oh, like people. And I thought, oh, right, well, okay, you're just going to call that out. And then, by this point in the episode, they've completely abandoned that.
Yeah, either it's bad writing or it's heavy-handed writing where the writers are going, ha, you thought we were going this direction, fooled you.
Yeah, they just kind of completely ignore the whole turtle thing by now. But yeah, she's part of a smuggling ring, as is the other one, and the wifey claims that the husband knows nothing about it, he would be devastated and would divorce her.
Yeah, but through all of this, we find out that the victim was in fact Shock, an investigative journalist under an assumed name.
Ah, yes.
And it turns out she was onto them, so instead of stalking the other volunteer, she was actually investigating her, and then she ended up on the boat, and then on the night before she died, she was on the boat, unsubtly taking photos of everything that was going on,
Yeah.
when the lead volunteer
Wifey.
picked up a very unobtrusive bright orange boat hook and wanged her around the head with it, and she fell KO into the water. Fatality.
Well, she wasn't KO as she went into the water.
No, well, she wasn't dead either. She swears, she like super pinky promises she wasn't dead when she hit the water.
Yeah.
And to be fair, she didn't drown. And they were like, what? And they were just like, oh, we'll take her word for it. She seems legit.
Yeah.
They're so credulous.
Yeah.
Credulous word of the day.
Opportunity. Basically, they don't cover this.
No.
So, in theory, everyone could have had opportunity.
Yeah, you got very annoyed at me for not writing anything proper for this.
I know, I just scribbled out everything that you put. Because they say that she went on a night out and then no one ever saw her again. So we know that the wifey saw her because she whacked her over the head on a boat. But then we don't know anything else. So technically, they all have an opportunity to have killed her.
So it was basically like the timeline was glug, 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 whack, splash.
What's glug, glug, glug?
Drinking.
Right, they went on a night out, yeah.
Drinking.
Okay.
Glug, glug, glug.
Yeah.
Click, because she was taking photos.
Right.
Whack.
Yeah. Into
Splash.
The water. Yeah.
And then what? Because
What,
they don't know.
confusion, because we don't know what happened.
Exactly, see? It was a real journey you went on with me.
It still doesn't answer the opportunity question, but let's move on to the key evidence.
The strangle marks on her neck.
The orange fiberglass in her head wound.
Dun dun dun.
Although we already know about that now, so...
The victim is under an assumed name and is an investigative journalist.
Yeah, you've already said that as well. She's having an affair. Yeah, we have already said that.
There is a postcard to Neville on the shack.
Ooh, something new.
I've started, so I'll finish.
Okay.
There is a postcard to Neville, the previous DI, on the shack's bookshelf, and DI Wilson noticed that it's been turned around. Stop yawning! Oh my God!
I don't think you're going to be able to hear it in your
Do
mic.
I bore you so much?
I just think you should carry on, because
You need to keep this in as an illustration of your unprofessionalism. I cannot work under these conditions. But yes, D.I. Wilson astutely notices that the postcard has been turned around because he's so anal he remembers what direction postcards were on his bookshelf. The lead volunteer is running a turtle egg smuggling ring with another volunteer helping, and I suppose I've already said that. Yes, I have. Also, again, echoing back to the snake venom episode, Because the person in charge there was smuggling venom with the help of an underling.
True.
And it's just like, come on, guys. I thought we got past all of this, reusing the old shit. It's just leftover TV.
Okay, you need to stop bringing this up right now because I hadn't noticed that.
That is not my fault. The lead volunteer is sure the victim was alive when she went into the water. I super pinky promise. But to be fair, the victim didn't drown. Unless, right, she was strangled by an octopus.
Right. Actually, that's quite good.
Imagine. I just like to say, I know we've ruled out D.I. Wilson.
Uh-huh.
But I would really love if one day, one of the seasons, a beloved DI turned out to have done it when they get accused of a murder, because that seems to happen semi-often.
Like Poirot and Curtin.
Yeah, or like, you know how, spoiler alert, don't listen if you haven't seen the first DI, when he's murdered as his last episode, or the first episode of the new DI.
Yeah.
But what if it turned out that the last DI was actually the murderer?
Cool. Could do. Well, they've done something similar to that, haven't they? Where, was it Neville's girlfriend?
Yeah, but that's not the same.
No, it's similar though.
I'm just saying, I'm pitching it.
Solution time!
I think it was the turtles that did it.
No.
In revenge. Revenge, but misguided revenge.
Mama Turtle.
Mama Turtle.
It wasn't Mama Turtle.
She doesn't have hands.
It was the charity's founder and the guy she was having an affair with.
Oh.
So what happened was, as Ben has ably demonstrated, she woke up confused on the beach in between D.I. Wilson locking up the shack and giving his stuff to the taxi driver. She sort of stumbled into the shack unnoticed and hid in the bathroom while he was locking up. Then he left. Then she came out of the bathroom confused and dazed, and she finds the postcard and she turns it over to access the address of the shack.
Which is surprisingly alert thinking for someone who's supposedly washed up on a beach and is bleary.
Yeah, because they do say, like, she wasn't right because she was...
Concussed.
Concussed, that's the right word.
Head boinked.
Yeah, head boinked. Concussed, I'm going to go with that one. So, yeah, she's not quite thinking straight. She's not asking for help. But she makes a phone call to her boyfie.
Yeah, she does. And I'm not comfortable with how much they just waved away the whole, like, oh yeah, she must have just walked in at the very moment that D.I. Wilson was distracted. And I quote, must have been in the bathroom getting water when I looked up.
I know, there's a lot of assumptions.
Yeah, it's another one of these things, how narratively convenient that she just happened to wave in at the exact nanosecond that it worked.
Yeah.
It seems unrealistic.
Yeah, but her boyfriend arrives to come and rescue her. And he doesn't rescue her. She comes clean about who she is, what she's doing, and he can't believe it.
I mean, he rescues her from having to deal with the consequences of the situation.
By murdering her.
Judging by his results, not his methods? It's a bit of a curious one, because they sort of like, again, they rattle us through this a bit. Like, yeah, she confessed everything to him, and he was really betrayed because he'd fallen in love with her.
Yes, it was his betrayal that he focuses on, isn't it?
Sudden rage.
No, well, her betrayal of him feeling betrayed.
Yeah, and she was going to ruin everything he'd strived for, and was going to betray him, because, you know, his sex was so good, and he loved her, and this was different than the others, and he was so betrayed by her, you know, being a decent human being, that he strangled her to death.
Because he's clearly not a decent human being.
Yes, I mean, that seems like an astute observation of the murderer.
Thank you. I don't always land on this side, so...
No, that's true, actually. I'm acting as this is obvious, but you often do like the murderers.
Yep, so he did it, and he doesn't really care, and he did it too, well, because of his own feelings, really, not for any other reason.
He then suddenly goes from murderous rage to incredibly with it in a moment, snatches up her phone and hides behind the door as the cleaner comes in, then slips out the back.
And again, why did this matter? He could have murdered her, nicked her phone, and left the shack. The cleaner didn't have to arrive at that point.
Oh, you're saying the writing was bad?
Yeah.
Well...
Like, there was no drama for this. They made the drama in this explanation.
I mean, to be fair to them, they are paid to make the drama.
But he could have had another half hour. It didn't add anything.
Right, having complained earlier in the season that a murderer had half an hour to sort of set the scene, you're now complaining that the murderer didn't have half an hour to set the scene.
Yes, because they don't really mention the time until this point. Like, why was it so rushed? He didn't know a cleaner was coming.
I have no answer for you.
No, because it's stupid. Anyway, shall we move on to subplots?
Yes, the commissioner leaving.
Yeah.
He got offered his job back and you were like, yay! And I was like, I don't think he's going to take it. It doesn't sound like he's going to take it. Who was right?
Ben was right.
Yeah, say it again.
No.
We get to have a lovely goodbye scene between the two stalwarts of the show, Catherine and Commissioner Selwyn, or just Mr. Patterson as he will be now. She insists on making him acknowledge that it's not the end. So he might be coming back part-time occasionally for a cameo.
Yeah, well, we do see him leave, and he is going to spend some time with his daughter. So that's quite nice, really.
Yeah, and I think it's important that we just take a moment to think about it. Because, like, Selwyn leaving is quite a big deal.
Bye!
A fitting tribute to a great man. But, like, he's been on the show for a very, very, very long time.
Oh, you're still going to talk about it.
I am. I was curious as to what you would consider to be your favourite moment or moments of the Commissioner throughout the seasons.
Oh my god.
I'm just dropping this on you live, aren't I? I did research.
Honestly, I think it might be the time, and this might be in Beyond Paradise rather than Death in Paradise. But I think it was the time he found out that there's a duck named after him.
Selwyn the duck.
Yeah.
That is one of mine.
Is it?
I mean, to be fair, though,
He was not impressed.
I will concede I struggled to compile this list because one of the items is him getting shot. Arresting Sterling Fox, which was like last episode.
Yeah.
And many times he goes like, "Arr!"
What?
He just gets annoyed at people.
Mainly the DIs.
Yeah, mainly the DIs.
He doesn't have a lot of patience for the DIs, even though he knows that they're good at their job.
Yeah, but it turns out that he likes people not to annoy him.
Yeah. Actually, I think the best DI that he's bonded with is Mervin.
I don't know, he liked DI Mooney a lot.
But I still think he's bonded with this one more.
Well, maybe.
He's supported him more.
I think possibly his best moment is how excited he got over making a cup of coffee and a nice chocolate biscuit.
I know, so that was one of mine, but then I felt like that was bad because that was just last episode.
I think a fitting way to describe the Commissioner is in D.I. Mooney's words when he had to do a speech about him.
Right.
And he said, even if you aren't certain what a Commissioner does, well, I'm sure you'll all agree that he seems to know exactly what he's doing. And that's him, entered into the Teletalk Hall of Fame, Commissioner Selwyn Patterson.
Bye!
So basically, I'm getting the sense that you're very much still on the bandwagon of he can fuck off.
Well, no, it's just, I don't see it as big a deal as you do.
I'm going to pour one out for my homie.
Cool.
The other side plot is D.I. Wilson leaving or not?
I mean, he's definitely staying because we know this from meta information.
But logic.
He has not quit the show. We haven't heard talk of who the new DI is going to be.
Yes.
Like, he's obviously staying.
Okay, but in show terms, he notices a card on his mum's grave that's addressed from S.
Who could it be?
Well, Selwyn, who is not considered to be the S.
No.
Trying to persuade him to stay, because, that's his last great gift to the island, I suppose. But D.I. Wilson dismisses it.
Well, hang on, you've missed a bit.
Which bit have I missed?
Mervin does his own research and finds out that the S is some guy named Solomon, and he used to live near his mum on the other island that she lived
Antigua.
on. Yep. And he was over visiting because he only just found out she died, and he was like, cool. And Selwyn does not think this is good enough.
No.
And he contacts Solomon. And then he uses that information to convince D.I. Wilson to stay.
Well, we don't know that he's staying.
Yeah, he's staying.
Well, he throws in a last Hail Mary by going, oh, and by the way, he is your brother Toodles!
And I called that.
You did.
As soon as we saw the S and he's like, who's the S? I was like, he's got a brother or a sister.
I have a hot off the presses prediction for how this is going to go next season when he's inevitably back. I predict that his brother is going to be the polar opposite of D.I. Wilson.
You mean happy and cheerful and grounded?
And probably maybe a bit of a wheeler dealer.
Ooh, a wheeler dealer.
You know, he's just going to be the exact opposite. And it's going to be like, how can he be my brother? I don't think he's my brother. Oh, he's so annoying. But then they'll grow together and they'll come to appreciate each other.
Aww.
That's not the right reaction.
No.
But the important thing that the show wants you to end on, their lingering shot at the end, is making you go, will D.I. Wilson stay? Will he? Will he?
It's not very dramatic because we already know the answer.
We don't know that.
We do know that.
They haven't started filming yet.
We know the answer.
What if there's some sort of scandal?
Right, I have rated this episode. Well, it was actually going to be 10 out of 10 until you pointed out some inconsistency, so I might just knock it down to 9.
9 out of 10.
Yeah, I quite liked it.
I am going to give this, for myself, a solid and respectable 5 murderous mother turtles out of 7.
Okay. Can see you considered those mama turtles.
Will he stay?
I'm surprised.
Will he?
Okay.
You're surprised?
I'm surprised you didn't go for murderous octopuses. Have you got a final song for us?
Dead in a shack, her boyfriend's to blame. He gives charity a bad name.
Oh my god, you did it!
Woo! Yeah!
That was good.
I mean, I was going to say I'm going to release an album, but it's just the same song. Bad. It's
Really bad words.
Ben's incredibly short, janky karaoke coming to a bargain bin near you.
Oh my goodness.
Note, that may not actually be real.
It's not real.
It may not actually be real.
It's definitely not real.
You're saving the world one song at a time.
And on that note... Oh, hang on. We haven't mentioned that we're not doing another one. That was the last episode of the season.
Boo.
Yes, we are not going to replace it for the short term because we have got multiple maths episodes coming out per week.
Yes, and for those of you that haven't been paying attention, that doesn't mean that we're doing mathematical classes. We are watching Married at First Sight Australia, the latest season, and it is batshit crazy.
Yeah, so if you want to continue listening to fresh episodes, you can grab those, and we will return once that finishes with something else.
Yeah, it could be going back to the beginning of Death in Paradise. It could be more Gavin and Stacey. If you have a really strong feeling about what you'd like us to cover, please do reach out on our socials or our email.
Yep.
We're at teletalkpod at Blue Sky and on Facebook, and our email address is teletalkpod@outlook.com. If you really want us to cover something or go back to something, let us know.
Yeah,
your input's important.
Yeah, we have considered other things like Ludwig.
Yep.
And obviously there's more Bluey episodes.
Da 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 da. Bonus song.
Midsummer Murders. There's so... Yeah, okay. They all have a tune, thank you, Ben. And on that note...
That's all, folks.
If you have the time, we would really appreciate it if you could rate, review and subscribe. It would mean a lot to us.
It would.
Thank you so much for listening. Bye.
Toodles.